Hey everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Clara.
And I'm David. Today, we're diving into a topic that I know hits close to home for so many of you trying to learn English. Why do we keep forgetting what we learn?
It's a frustrating experience, right? You study new vocabulary, you understand a grammar rule, and then a few days later, it's like it vanished from your brain.
Absolutely. We've all been there. But what if I told you there's a scientific reason behind it? And more importantly, strategies to beat this forgetting curve?
Intrigued? Good. Because in this episode, we're going to explore the psychology of memory, common mistakes English learners make, and actionable tips to make your English stick. So, grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's unlock the secrets to remembering English for good.
So, Clara, let's start with the big one. Why do we forget? Is it just that our brains are bad at learning languages?
Not at all, David. It's actually a natural process. Have you ever heard of the forgetting curve?
I think I might have, but refresh my memory. Pun intended.
Good one. The forgetting curve was discovered by a German psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus way back in the late 1800s. He did experiments on himself and found that without any review, we forget a huge amount of information very quickly after learning it.
So, it's not just English, it's everything?
Exactly. Imagine you learn 10 new English words today. Ebbinghaus's research suggests that within a day, you might only remember 40% of them if you don't review. After a week, even less.
That's pretty disheartening. So, our brains are just programmed to forget?
Well, yes and no. Our brains are incredibly efficient. They prioritize what information is important and what isn't. If you learn something once and never use it again, your brain thinks, okay, this isn't important. Let's clear up some space.
So, the key is to make our brains think English is important?
Precisely. And that brings us to the next big reason why we forget: how we learn in the first place. Many traditional methods of learning English can actually contribute to faster forgetting. David, in your experience, what are some common ways people try to learn English that might not be the most effective for long-term memory?
Oh, where do I even begin? One of the biggest ones I see is cramming.
The night before an exam. We've all been there in school.
Right? You try to learn hundreds of words in one sitting, or you spend hours studying grammar rules without any breaks. You might feel like you've learned a lot in that moment, but it's like trying to fill a bucket with a fire hose. Most of it just overflows.
And the information doesn't really sink in. It's in your short-term memory, but it doesn't transfer to your long-term memory.
Another huge mistake is passive learning. This is when you just read a grammar book, or listen to a podcast, or watch a movie without actively engaging.
So, just listening to us right now might not be enough?
Well, hopefully, our engaging conversation keeps people active. But seriously, if you're just passively consuming information, your brain isn't working hard enough to create those strong connections. It's like trying to get fit by just watching someone else exercise.
That's a great analogy. What about the opposite? Trying to learn too many things at once, or jumping between topics constantly?
That's another big one, Clara. We call that lack of focus or consistency. One day you're studying phrasal verbs. The next day, you're trying to master the past perfect, and the day after that, you're watching a movie with subtitles. While variety is good, if you don't give your brain enough time to really solidify one concept before moving to the next, it all becomes a blur.
And what about not reviewing? We talked about the forgetting curve, but many learners just move on to new material without looking back.
Exactly. It's like building a house without a strong foundation. You add new walls and a roof, but if the foundation is weak, the whole thing will eventually collapse. Reviewing is that foundation for your English knowledge. So, we've talked about why we forget and the mistakes we make. Now, let's get to the good stuff. How can we make English stick in our brains for good?
This is where we tap into our brain's superpowers. The first one is called spaced repetition.
I've heard of this. It sounds fancy, but what does it mean?
It's actually very simple and incredibly powerful. Instead of cramming, you review information at increasing intervals. So, you learn a new word today, review it tomorrow, then in 3 days, then in a week, then in a month.
So, you're catching the information just before you forget it?
Precisely. It tells your brain, Hey, this information is important. I'm seeing it again and again, so I need to remember it. There are even apps like Anki or Quizlet that use spaced repetition algorithms to help you with this.
That's brilliant. What's another superpower?
Active recall. This is the opposite of passive learning. Instead of just rereading your notes, you actively test yourself. Close your book and try to remember the new words or grammar rules. Explain a concept out loud to yourself.
So, instead of just looking at a vocabulary list, you cover the English word and try to remember its meaning from the native language, or vice versa.
Exactly. Or, if you're learning a grammar point, try to create sentences using that grammar without looking at the rules. The effort it takes to recall the information actually strengthens the memory. It's like flexing a muscle.
I love that analogy. What else can we do?
Contextual learning and storytelling. Our brains are wired for stories and connections. Don't just learn isolated words. Learn them in sentences, in phrases, or even better, in a story.
So, instead of just apple, you learn the red apple fell from a tree.
Yes. Or even better, I went to the market and bought a big, juicy red apple for my breakfast. When you create a vivid image or a mini story around a word, it becomes much easier to remember. Our brains don't like isolated facts. They prefer networks of information.
That makes so much sense. And it makes learning more interesting, too.
Absolutely. Another superpower is making it personal. Connect what you're learning to your own life, your experiences, your hobbies.
So, if I'm learning vocabulary about food, I should think about my favorite foods and try to describe them in English.
Perfect. Or, if you're learning about travel, imagine describing your last vacation in English. The more emotionally relevant something is to you, the more likely your brain is to hold on to it. So, David, let's move from superpowers to practical, everyday strategies our listeners can start using right now.
Excellent. My first one is chunking. Don't try to learn too much at once. Break down your learning into smaller, manageable chunks.
Like short, focused study sessions instead of one long marathon.
Exactly. Even 15 to 20 minutes of focused study every day is much more effective than one 2-hour session once a week. Your brain can process and store information better in smaller doses.
And related to that, consistency is key. It's better to study a little bit every day than to study a lot once a week. Regular exposure is what really makes a difference.
Absolutely. Another practical strategy is to use new vocabulary and grammar immediately. Don't just learn it and forget it. Try to use it in a sentence, write it down, or even better, say it out loud.
If you're learning a new phrase, try to incorporate it into a conversation you're having, even if it's just with yourself.
Precisely. And don't be afraid to make mistakes when you're using it. Mistakes are how we learn.
That's so true. Which brings us to another point. Find ways to immerse yourself, even if you're not in an English-speaking country.
This is crucial. Change the language on your phone. Watch English movies and TV shows with English subtitles first, then without. Listen to English music and try to understand the lyrics.
Listen to podcasts like this one. Giggles, read English books, even if they're simplified versions for learners. The more you surround yourself with the language, the more natural it becomes.
And finally, find a study buddy or a language exchange partner. Practicing with someone else provides opportunities for active recall, immediate use of new language, and it keeps you accountable.
It also makes learning more fun and less like a chore.
So, Clara, despite all these great strategies, there will still be moments of frustration. How can our listeners overcome that feeling of forgetting and stay motivated?
That's a really important question, David. First, be patient with yourself. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be days when you feel like you're not making progress, or when you forget something you thought you knew. That's totally normal.
It's part of the process.
Exactly. Second, celebrate small victories. Did you understand a new word in a song? Did you manage to have a short conversation in English? Acknowledge those achievements. They add up.
That's great advice. It's easy to focus on what you don't know rather than what you do know.
And third, remind yourself of your why. Why are you learning English? Is it for travel, for work, to watch your favorite movies without subtitles? Connecting back to your motivation can reignite your passion when you feel discouraged.
That's so powerful. And finally, don't be afraid to experiment. If one method isn't working for you, try another. There's no single right way to learn English. Find what resonates with you and what keeps you engaged.
Maybe you love using flashcards, or maybe you prefer watching YouTube videos, or maybe it's listening to music. The best method is the one you'll stick with. So, there you have it. Forgetting what you learn in English isn't a sign that you're bad at languages. It's a natural brain process, and thankfully, there are many effective strategies to combat it.
From understanding the forgetting curve and avoiding common mistakes, to utilizing spaced repetition and active recall, you now have a powerful toolkit to make your English truly stick.
Remember, consistency, active engagement, and connecting new information to your life are your best friends on this language learning journey.
Don't get discouraged by forgetting. See it as an opportunity to review and strengthen those neural connections.
What are your favorite strategies for remembering new English vocabulary or grammar? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend who's also learning English.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode for more English learning tips.
Bye for now.
See ya.